Trump DOJ targets George Mason University, a threat to free speech and democracy. Even conservative strongholds aren't safe from the Trump DOJ's relentless assault on higher education. George Mason University, a bastion of right-leaning thought, has found itself in the crosshairs of an administration seemingly determined to silence dissent. This is the part most people miss. The targeting of a university long associated with Republican elites and conservative ideals raises alarming questions about the limits of academic freedom and the weaponization of government power. George Mason has historically been an outlier among large public universities, known for its conservative leanings and ties to the GOP establishment. Located near the nation's capital, it has become a favored institution for Republican power players. Billionaire donors Charles and David Koch have poured millions into the university, benefiting entities like the Mercatus Center, a libertarian think tank housed on campus. The university's law school, named after the late Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia, is a hub of conservative legal thought, boasting adjunct faculty members like Justices Clarence Thomas, Neil Gorsuch, and Brett Kavanaugh. But here's where it gets controversial. Despite its conservative credentials, George Mason has become a target of the Trump administration's broader attack on higher education. In early July, the Education Department launched an investigation into the university's diversity efforts, singling out its first black president, Gregory Washington. Conservative critics have labeled Washington a dangerous promoter of diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI. Ideals they claim threaten traditional values, though these principles remain entirely legal. A week later, the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division, now radically transformed under Trump, opened its own investigation into the university's employment practices. This division, once dedicated to protecting minority rights, has been flipped on its head. It now champions the interests of historically dominant groups: white people, men, Christians, and those aligned with Trump's agenda. This shift led to a mass exodus, with 70% of its lawyers quitting or being forced out. When George Mason's faculty senate defended President Washington, the Justice Department retaliated by investigating the Senate itself, demanding access to internal communications and drafts of their resolution. This heavy-handed response underscores a disturbing trend. The DOJ's vast powers, meant to uphold justice, are being wielded with alarming partisanship. And this is the part most people miss. Under Trump, the Justice Department has become a tool for settling political scores, rather than a guardian of fairness. The department's leadership is packed with Trump loyalists, many of whom previously worked for him personally. Attorney General Pam Bondi, for instance, has pursued Trump's agenda with zeal, dismantling the office investigating political corruption, firing prosecutors involved in January 6 cases, and creating a strike force to probe baseless claims of election rigging by Barack Obama. She even established a weaponization working group to target those who investigated Trump's past misconduct. The DOJ's actions extend beyond George Mason. Charges against politically aligned defendants, like an anti-trans doctor accused of violating patient privacy and another accused of destroying COVID vaccines, have been dropped. Meanwhile, the department has filed frivolous complaints against judges who dared to hold the administration accountable. When Alina Habba, a former Trump attorney, was appointed interim U.S. Attorney for New Jersey, she openly declared her intention to turn New Jersey red, a blatant display of partisanship that goes unpunished. The attack on George Mason sends a chilling message. Even institutions with conservative roots are not immune if they fail to align completely with Trump's MAGA agenda. This raises a provocative question. Were conservatives who once championed free speech and decried the politicization of justice ever sincere? Or were they simply biding their time until they could wield power in the same way they accused their opponents of doing? The Trump DOJ's actions suggest the latter, revealing what genuine politicization of justice looks like, and it's a dangerous precedent for democracy. What do you think? Is the Trump administration's targeting of George Mason a justified scrutiny of DEI initiatives, or a troubling example of government overreach? Share your thoughts in the comments below.